So let's talk about the iPhone Fold. And recently, a lot of the rumors have been heating up, and there's a lot of talk going around with different specs, supposed leaks that have come out with 3D renders and what the iPhone Fold could possibly look like. A lot of people have said that Apple now entering or potentially entering the iPhone Fold market means that they are 7 to 8 years late, because Samsung obviously released the first Galaxy Fold many years ago. But I think personally, it's not a matter of them being late, but they waited for the right moment, for the market to mature a little bit more, for users to understand a little bit more how foldables can work and what use case they have. I don't think this is a new device, so to speak. I think it's more of a replacement in a way. And then this is why I think this could potentially be the death of the iPad mini. And we've heard loads of things about the pricing from $2,000 up to $2,500 or pounds. But I think that pricing will make sense once you understand the strategy. But let me show you why the design gives it away. If you think of it this way, they're not adding another product to the lineup, so to speak. In a way, they're simplifying the lineup. So they're making a device potentially that can incorporate two devices into one. So we're talking iPad mini and iPhone combined into one Halo product, and that all starts with the actual shape. Most foldables available on the market have a tall cover display and then a more squared off inner display, and by the looks of things, Apple are going for a more passport style kind of foldable, and we saw this with the Oppo Find N2, which had a similar kind of design. Google Pixel Fold, the first generation one, was also similar in that respect, and by the looks of it, loads of users love this form factor. But again, these companies leaned into what everyone else was doing, Samsung being the main one, and they went for more the square kind of design. So rumors are indicating that the outer display is going to be anywhere between 5.3 to 5.5 inches, and then when you open it, it's going to have a wider aspect ratio. 4:3 is the number I keep seeing. That would effectively fall into the iPad mini or any iPad, which is Apple is notorious for using the aspect ratio. And when the iPhone 8 came out, a lot of people were saying that this is now paving the way for the foldable, and a lot of people imagine that it's going to be two iPhone A's joined together, but then we'd end up in the same territory as the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and previous generations, where that would ended up being a almost 1:1 aspect ratio, so it would have been square. And personally, for someone who consumes a lot of media on their phone, YouTube videos, Netflix, Disney Plus, I just love watching shows on my phone all the time, constantly around the house, when I'm out and about. A lot of media consumption for me personally, so I think that the wider passport style type of form factor will definitely appeal to someone like me. I'm not that much of a tablet user. I don't carry one around with me. I obviously have a few, but I've never found myself using the tablet. If I need to do multitasking or more intense kind of tasks, then I usually go for my MacBook. I can see the use case for it, so having that form factor and having that aspect ratio, so obviously it's going to make iPad OS maybe work on it better. I don't know if it's going to be iPad OS and iOS on the outer screen, that kind of setup, but surely Apple will come up with like a hybrid OS for both. So when you open it up, it's going to be iPad OS, and then you get all the functionality with the multitasking that comes with that. And obviously a lot of people do say the iPad screen size is maybe a bit too small for true multitasking, which I can kind of understand, whereas the bigger iPads like the Air or just the iPad or the Pros are a bit better for that kind of use case. But generally for media consumption, the black bars are going to be a lot less. Craig has done various videos where he showcases what the size of a 16:9 aspect ratio video can actually look like on passport style form factor. Ultimately, it's going to be a bit more immersive when you're consuming media, watching videos. If it goes further than the 4:3, 16:9, 21:9 aspect ratios, whatever the numbers are on those, then of course you're going to get thicker black bars. But I think personally it's going to be amazing and more immersive for people that use the inner displays for foldables, where you won't have thick chunky black bars on the top and the bottom. And then we've heard all this talk about the crease. I've had hands-on with a lot of foldables, and the V5 I spent quite a bit of time with. Yes, the crease is there, but it's not something you think, oh god, this crease has ruined the whole experience for me. You slowly kind of get used to it over time, and when you're using it and the display is on, you can kind of feel a tiny little bump if you think, but the newer generations have done a lot better job of making that bump less noticeable and the crease itself barely visible. But like I said, if the light catches it, and everyone knows this kind of thing, you can see the crease a little bit more. And Apple's whole take on this crease problem was that they want a foldable with no visible crease. And obviously they're going to go for like the highest end polished kind of device. So it makes sense for Apple to be coming out with something like this that would make that experience a lot better. So apparently they've managed to figure out how to do that. And Samsung did show a display at CES 2026 where they had a display that had no crease but was pulled. And we understand that that might be the display that's going to be used in the iPhone Fold. Obviously if it's there, then it's good because it's going to take away from, oh, this is actually a foldable. So once you open it, there's no crease and then you can just use the phone as you would like a normal tablet size kind of display. And then there's a practical stuff that Apple obviously doesn't ignore. We've heard rumors that it's going to have a battery 5000 milliamp hours minimum, so north of that, which would be ideal because obviously we're talking a big inner display which will consume a lot of battery life. And then A20 Pro, which is the next generation Apple Silicon, will be quite efficient as it's on a 2nm process, which will help the battery life hopefully last a lot longer. And as usual, Apple are going to probably stick on the all-day battery life on day, which will probably satisfy. But I think most of the foldables, I know the Z Fold 7 has something like 4500 milliamp hour battery, which isn't ideal, and a lot of people have said that was one thing that could have been improved, but they went for a really thin form factor, so it kind of, you have to find a balance between the two. And then we obviously have heard loads of stuff about Face ID not fitting in the phone, and it kind of wouldn't make sense anyway, because if you had Face ID on the outer display, would you have one on the inner display? Then you're talking two different array of sensors, but that's not going to actually work because obviously they're trying to keep it as slim as possible. So Touch ID will most likely be the main biometric here on the iPhone Fold. And then it comes to the question of if they are releasing a Fold that could potentially be the size of an iPad mini or nearabouts that size, then what is the point of the iPad mini? Yes, if you have the phone and the iPad mini in one device, then it kind of takes away from the fact that iPad mini as a standalone device, and that could just potentially mean that they could get rid of the iPad mini at some point. But then we're hearing rumors that they're looking to update it with the OLED screen, a lot better processor, sometimes this year or next year. But I personally think the Fold could potentially kill off the iPad mini, and then you just have the iPad, iPad Air, iPad Pros, and the bigger sizes there if you wanted something that had that kind of size and display area for true multitasking and desktop use. But I personally think the iPhone Fold will be the funeral of the iPad mini, and the fact that you can carry it with you when you're out and about, if you're just doing normal phone stuff, you can do all of that on the cover display. And if you want something a bit more immersive, if you want to do a bit of multitasking, then it would make sense, crack open the display, do your bits and bobs and call it a day. And we know Apple works on high prices, premium pricing, so they essentially would push people up the ladder here. I'm personally really excited, and I know it's going to be a very costly device, but all foldables are really expensive at the moment. Yes, some of them have come down in price recently. Automagic V5 is, £1,300 at the moment, so £2,000 is a hefty price tag for a device. But when you're in the tech world, you're excited about products like this. I'm personally excited about Apple's take on a foldable. Looking forward to the whole polish they give to the devices, and we will find out if it's actually a device that lives up to the hype. It's not going to be one for everyone, more of a halo product. Would you be willing to replace potentially two devices with one? Is the £2,000 price tag too high for a foldable? Let me know in the comments. And we've got about 9 months until the iPhone Fold could potentially be released, so there'll be a lot more coming out when it eventually does.